大家好，非常感谢大家今天能够参加这一次活动的直播。我叫李笑娇，我是北京大学博物馆中心的员工。今天呢，我们首先来道歉，因为这一次活动原本应该是在线下中信书店举行，但是因为众所周知的天气原因，所以我们最后决定为了大家所有人的人身安全，把这个活动搬到线上。那并且我们也已经跟主讲人都说好，也许未来还有机会能够有在线下跟大家见面的这样的场合。我们今天呢，首先想跟大家说一下，这次活动我们大部分时间会是英文进行，涉及到主讲人的这个语言习惯，但是呢，我们因为有直播，所以有机器翻译，所以大家可以看机器翻译的内容。也欢迎大家在各个平台上给我们留言，有你的点评也好，有你的问题也好，我们在最后的这个问答环节会传达给两位主讲人。我们今天中信书店呢还准备了2本书，来送给大家。有优秀留言的话，留言的时候也可以用中文，也可以用英文，我们来处理翻译问题。那我们现在就开始。我首先呢要介绍一下，今天我们的主讲人之一，同时也行使我们主要主持人的权利。北京大学医学人文学院常聘副教授，也是我们2023到2024博古瑞学者赖丽李老师。赖老师的研究领域主要集中在身体医疗实践和日常生活这些方面的交叉。主要在文化人类学视野下，将当代前沿的科学技术与传统知识体系并置并考察。赖老师呢，也是在艺术领域非常活跃的一位人类学家。那下面呢，我就把这个麦克交给赖老师。请赖老师。
谢谢香蕉，我分享一下屏幕。好，非常感谢，我们北京大学博物馆研究中心提供这个机会，让我得以与非常喜爱和尊重的艺术家金允哲对谈。我非常希望，我也非常希望通过这个机会，能有更多的朋友来欣赏这位我认为非常了不起的艺术家。他也是电声音乐作曲家，而且曾经担任过韩国高等科学院 Korean Institute of Advanced Science。一个专题，他一会儿也会给大家介绍 materiality 研究组的首席研究员，所以他的身份是非常多重的。然后当然我们主要还是要从他的作品入手，所以呢，主要是为了让大家还不了解艺术家的朋友稍微熟悉一下他的作品。当然，我也只是找了非常少的几件，后面他也会有介绍。嗯，主要是想让大家对他的作品和思路有一点熟悉。我们可以先看这件是2022年威尼斯双年展韩国馆的他的一个非常重要的一个装置，叫 Chroma。嗯，这是一个视频。呃，我们可以重点是看这些这个动态，像呼吸一样的，貌似有生命一样的，但是是一个庞然大物的机器的这样的一个装置。同样的作品在去年也在798 Cube，当然不是同样作品，是类似它，也是这样，也是一个Chroma 的作品。下面我给大家看一个照片，也在798 Cube 展出过。当然非常希望将来金先生还有更多的作品能够在中国得到展现哈。那从我的理解角度，我是第一次，我是被他的这个装置的这个 size 这个 scale 非常震撼的。所以呢，我想到了 Karen Broad 他讨论的这个装置，当然和我们普通意义上的这个装置的认识是非常不一样的。比如说，他认为它不仅是关于是人和非人，而它是一个非常独特的一个对于世界的一个重构 （material reconfiguring）。所以呢，它也不是在时间和空间之间出现，而是它改变了时间和空间的。所以他说是 reconfigure space-time matter。他把这个时空物都放到了一起。 作为一个 ongoing dynamism of becoming，我觉得是非常适合、非常合适来来理解金先生的作品的。当然，他本人他也非常懂 Karen Broad，也非常懂量子力学。那接下来我要给大家看这件作品呢，来自于他当年在欧洲核子研究中心 CERN 的驻留。我们可以看到这是他当时拍的照片。然后呢，他画了很细致的图片，他的这个草图，他的设计，他的思路，然后做出了一件，这是去年在798 Cube 展出的，叫 Argos。当然，它的命名也都是非常有讲究的。所以，金允哲先生他不仅是在科学、艺术，他在文学、在哲学都很有思想，都很有想法。我们主要是通过这个来看一下他的作品的相似度以及它的 size、它的尺寸、它的尺度。我们可以看旁边那个观赏的那个女孩的对比，我们可以知道它的尺度。那还有这张照片是他们在装的时候的，同样这件后面那件Chroma 刚才给大家看的那个视频的这是可以看到形状不太一样，但是是非常相似的，是在798 Cube 展出的。这是这两件非常重要的装置。嗯，所以我们可以看到这个我下面还接着给大家介绍一点。装置它没有在金先生的装置，它没有一个内在的一个好像就是比如说我们看到的两个不一样的 chroma，它已经相对不一样，所以它是没有一个非常固定的一个界限的边界的，它是一个非常开放的 open-ended，而且是个 practices 是实践。嗯。他们不是有一个非常固定的一个结构，所以我刚才也给大家介绍，它不是简单的是在时空之中，而是和时空同时变化的 space-time matter。嗯，比如说这个刚才的 Argos，它又用了另外一个方式，它只是一个局部，也可以成为一件艺术作品。嗯，那这也是在798展出的一个装置。当时实际上是他们没有装完，但是艺术家觉得我就这样子放在这里也可以，也可以给大家看，非常非常鲜明的展示出了它的灵活性，以及作为一个装置的这个无边界性、流动性。那这是我在他的工作室看到的。这是前面的那个 chroma 的一个部分。在我们可以看到这个图片的中间的那个地方，它有一点那个它的那个当时放的那个胶片的那个位置。那这也可以是一个部件。嗯，所以呢，我们今天要对谈的主题是关于跨物质或者是 mattering。那实际上对于装置来说，它和 matter 也是非常密切的一个关系。当然，我们后面也可以再讨论。我也和金先生想讨论一下关于这个尺度的问题，我觉得是一个非常有意思的话题。它是一个 material conditions possibility impossibility of mattering。是如何来不断的在实现这个物化的过程。嗯，这是今天另外一个作品。前面大多的是关于材料科学、计算机装置，那这里它还非常深入到了化学、合成。也是非常引人入胜的一个作品。我这里是用了他的一个视频，大家可以欣赏他的这种 aesthetics 这个美感，这个审美。好。嗯，作为一个介绍的一个总结，我认为金先生他是一个非常有一个非常不一样的一个 knowing subject。他不断是怎么说呢？他不断是一个 knower，他不仅是一个知识分子，不但是一个艺术家，而且他不断通过做作品来认识世界，来与世界来参与世界。所以，我也非常认同这样的一句话：“Knowing is not a matter of reflecting at distance。”他的做作品，他要理解他的草图，包括刚才大家看的草图，他都是在一个深入的和这个世界的万物，如果回到我们的来，不断的去纠缠，不断地去缠绕，不断的去实践，甚至干预。是一个非常活跃的，而且是一个 specific practice 它是一个 engagement，一个参与。所以在我的这个简短的介绍，我想，当然接下来今天的介绍会让大家对它有更多的认识。我想我非常认同这句话：To know is to become entangled。就是要深入到这个世界中，与这个世界更深入的缠绕。好，我简单介绍就到这里。So that's my introduction. Yunchul, now it's your turn to share your thoughts. Let me stop sharing. 鼠标去哪儿？不好意思，没找到我的鼠标。诶，
Okay. So
sorry. I don't know how to stop it. Oh,
I think
here.
you can.
It's come back. Yes.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I will share my screens. So good morning, everyone. I'm Yunchul Kim. I'm very happy to join you. So I'm very grateful to Berggruen Institute for inviting me, and I would like to express my deeply appreciation to Professor Lili, and also a big thanks to everyone who joined us. Now I'm going to talk about my art practice and my artwork and my thoughts. The title of the transmattering, maybe when you see this word, you will likely imagine object existing within process of change. Then actually most of my practice, I'm working with material and I'm reflecting with material. And as really talk about the knowing, it's not just to have a distance with object, it is engaging and also collaborating with the world of materials. And first, I would like to start with the word things, the different meaning from Western word things and also Chinese, I think, Si Wu. So actually it is affairs and event and matter. But in our East Asian thought, then event and matter is not separatable. So we have already this idea that the matter is constantly changing and event and something related with the other things and so on. Therefore, so matter is not just a passive object. It is the kind of acting things. So it is now the contemporary philosophy, there is blurring the boundaries of the concept. I think the things we have this idea now that the event and matter is not separated. So this idea is very, I can say it is very Buddhistic worldview, that everything is fluctuating in the world very constantly. So this world depend co-arising. Actually, if I'm working with the material, I have every time this kind of feeling. Then I would like to show some videos. Then I am performing some experiment. And this experiment as a form of performance and gaining sensory knowledge through it. And because what you see is some fluctuation of the fluid, and I'm agitating and steering the fluid with my hands. And this is kind of connection with my sensory reaction and with my also observation as an experiment. And suddenly you have a feeling that it is not just as a scientific object or natural object. It is some find some own beauty and own aesthetics. And slowly I can imagine how it will be as an artwork and so on. And I would like to also explain about the Chinese, this notion or concept about ge wu zi zi. So it means achieving knowledge through investigation of things. So, but in 16th century in Korea, there were one Korean scholar, Kim Si. He interpret these two word in Korean 경물. He understood it is not humans who reach toward things, but things that approach me. It is very interesting interpretation of this Chinese word. And I think it is very near to our contemporary philosophy that matter is not static and just kind of we have kind of things that is not changing. But so I would like to show this text of the Karen Barrett. Matter is not a thing but a doing. It is very important sentence about the matter. And not only this Karen Barrett, also there are Tim Ingold and Jane Bennett and they have also same worldview about things. So Tim Ingold says things in a world, the world is coming and things is becoming. And Jane Bennett's idea or matter is pulsing with life, so life matter. And Karen Barrett said everything has agency. And I have three key concepts of my work practice and artistic thought and artistic practice, materiality and cross-morphing and transmattering. Actually, it is not divided, but I would like to categorize some moment and because of some perspective with my thought, then I would like to explain more deep meanings later. So this is studio. Most part of the Seoul, I'm living here and working here in my studio. And I spend a lot of time to researching and experimenting with a lot of material and machines, and also not only machines, also working with softwares and developing some tools and apparatus and so on. And my laboratory setups, there are thousands of things with sometimes very strange material. Just I'm waiting, they're changing with weather and time and so on. Then sometimes you can observe this kind of things actually not in nature because it is totally artificial, engineered material with the nanoparticles dispersed in the water, with they can reflect different spectrums of light and so on. Also, Lili already showed this movement of the fluid. It is not a mechanical movement. It is kind of reacting with the temperature of the room temperature. And you can see that this convections flow and also falling down because of the gravity of the particles. And I'm used to observing this kind of phenomenon in my studio. Then I'm really fascinating, and also it gave me the motivation to keep going on this kind of connecting with the materials. Also, sometimes I'm working with my hands to express the materiality through my hands and also with my body and sense. And I'm learn and I'm experienced with this material that I'd like to say it is kind of sensory knowledge. So as I have this kind of setups, really like a chemistry laboratory that I'm testing materials and observing, and also sometimes like a scientist, have a lot of data, what it means and what it happened. Also, this shows how this fluid dynamic changing the shape of the materials. And also working with a lot of fluid flowing and microfluidic device that to observing the flow of the materials. And this is the last month I filmed this studio settings with the chroma. Then I'd like to a little bit more detailed about the materiality. So materiality is one of my key concepts, and it means it is recognition of matter as a reality in process. Matter exists not in a static state, but in a continuous state of becoming and transformation. And this fluid nature of matter presents a view of matter not as a fixed object, but as an event. And so cross-morphing is the multi-directional transformation of process where art and other disciplines mutually influence and reshape each other, creating emergent properties beyond the simple collaboration. So cross-morphing describes artistic activities in which research and practice intersect and are transformed by technology, science, and other fields. And in this process, art both influences and is influenced by other disciplines, generating spontaneous emergent properties. So maybe you can understand why my studio this is artist studio, but it looks like sometimes science laboratory or some technology experiment studio, and so on. And transmattering is also one of very important key concept. The process by which materials are transformed from natural states into cultural artifacts with new meanings and values through artistic experimentation. Transmattering extends beyond describing the physical transformation of materials in a space-time. It encompasses change in meaning, value, and concept through material transformation. This is particularly evident in the process by which natural materials are transformed into artificial substances that create cultural meaning through artistic experimentation. This concept represents the journey of materials as they are transformed from their natural state into cultural artifacts through artistic interventions. So I made a slide to show you that how natural matter transformed to artistic event or as an artwork. So what you see is one of my piece. I made a lot of experiment with mineral stone to make nano-sized particles. So what you see, some setups and some experiment, and also I'm checking with the materiality with this fluid. And this is the result that you can see the big scales of the fluid is flowing and reflecting with the light with the different chromatic colors. And this is the last show in Beijing and Q. I showed this fluid. The work title is "The Dust of Zones." And this is the material that actually, because of sound, I will skip the slide. But this material is from the trees, and from the trees there is some substance, cellulose, and with this cellulose you can create new materiality with this cellulose, that you can reflect different colors and flowings and changing and as a responsive materials. So if you give some pressure to these materials, then it changing colors and changing patterns. So what is interesting is that this material comes from nature, from tree, and this nanocomposite is transformed to nanocomposite to have a new cultural meanings and also new materiality. The piece is called strata. And other transmattering experiment. So this is algae from seaweed. Actually, this is a sea plant. Then you can get also this material like a gelatin. And with this material, you can also visualize their property of materials, because it has totally interesting character that to reflect right to like a prism. And after I can make this kind of piece with this material from the sea plant. Also, there is also other example of transmattering. The material is iron from the earth, and you can, how can I say, you can transform this iron with a lot of chemical reaction. You can make nanoparticles. Actually, it is photonic crystal, and it reacts with the magnetic field to make different patterns of fluid dynamics. So this is the images from the cube my show. So I'd like to show some video clips. Maybe you know, maybe you visited already this exhibition, but maybe you can have some more imagination after my presentation, because all my work is kind of pulsating and also becoming, also relating or connecting with not only just stay as a finished object. It is always interacting with nature or the physical environment. Also, this is the piece Argos already really explained. It is reacting with the particles in the air and space. And also this data sent to Chroma to triggering the different algorithm and the changing the different kinetic motion and kinetic movement. Also in this exhibition, also I showed a lot of material archive that you can see my the materials that which I made different experiments. So time is already almost 20 minutes, and so it is very important to talk about my thought and about transmattering and other key concept. So yeah, this is my slide, end of the slides. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Yunchul. I forgot I mute my microphone. Oops. Do you see the screen?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
No, yeah.
Okay. So thank you for Yunchul's explanation, and also I forgot a very important part when I show the two installation. Yes, they communicate with each other. That's very important, and you add that. So they are interacting. And also why we have this dialogue. Also, your work reminds me of the concept of 万物 in Chinese cosmology. So in this dialogue, I try to elaborate this idea as a response to your work and thought. So let's start with Huainan. So I'll read it in Chinese and then I have English translation. So 淮南子全言训这段话，对我影响非常大。我在很多个场合都用过这段话，而且我觉得它非常有意思，非常值得去发掘 explore。动同天地，混沌为谱，未造而成物，谓之太一。同出于一，所为各异。有鸟有鱼有兽，谓之分物。方以类别，物以群分，性命不同，皆行于有。格而不通，分而为万物。莫能集宗，故动而谓之生，死而谓之穷，皆为物矣。非不物而物物者也，物物者亡乎万物之中。So let's go to the translation. When heaven and earth were joined in emptiness and all was unwrought simplicity, without having been made, things came into being. This was the great one. All things issued from this one, but all became different, divided into various species of fish, birds, and beasts, which are called distinct things. With different qualities, they are all formed beings. All are things. But it's not the one that makes them things. What makes things thing has disappeared in the mirrored things. So this read a little bit strange, especially the last two sentences. But before that, let's see, the important thing is the 万物, they all from the great one. So that's already the precondition for 物, for all things. They are intrinsically connected, although they became distinct things. Also, this 不物, this oneness, is not a thing because it existed when heaven and earth were joined with the quality of emptiness and simplicity. So more importantly, even though all things issued from this one, it's not this oneness that realizes things. 非不物而物物者也. It's not this oneness. Whatever agency has made things thing. So it's the translation also, I kind of get inspiration from Heidegger's about singing. So making things sing has dispersed among the mirror things. So that's 物物者亡乎万物之中. So here differentiate the one with what makes things sing disappeared in the mirror things. I think that's Dao. That's the way. So Dao is origin of both the one and the many. So the great one, Tai Yi, came to before all things, but it's not independent of the world, nor does it order the world. So this cosmogony, far from presuming the existence of antecedent, independent, and originated principles, like in Western philosophy, God, right? So knows that the world is not created by something other, the big other, God. So this separates the Chinese way of thinking than the so-called Western way of thinking. Oops. So in contrast to the doctrine of creatio ex nihilo, this might be called the mutual generation of being and non-being, or even better, the eventful flux and flow of becoming. There is no such thing as being, something that is independently permanent and unchanging, and no such thing as not being, as a gaping void or an absolute nothingness. So this is very important, and also it shows the very active and also interconnecting or interaction of all things. So if follow Roger Ames, that in Taoist cosmology, if we come back to what I call Yunchul as knowing subject, knowing is to acquire the wisdom to fund the practical activity of realizing a world in the sense of making an optimally desirable world real. Remind us of his work. But this may kind of differentiate from his approach when we can talk about it later. Also, the mirror things are not discrete things, but in fact reference the independent dynamic events. Yunchul also talk about event and thing that constitute our shared experience. So 万物 is not something passive. That's also very important. Similarly, I also have these three words I was thinking about. If we want to talk about thing, about matter, in Chinese, actually, we have some different character, and roughly, this translation might not, like Yunchul and I already have differentiation in the translation of 是, right? You translate as event, I translate as matter. And then this translation also partly from Latour's differentiation of matters of fact and matters of concern. And so here, to me, so translate 是 as matter is matters of concern too. The both, maybe, matters of concern, matters of fact. So we can see the blurred boundary. In Chinese, we also have the idea to say we can say them separately 是 or 物 or 体, but also we can call 事物. 事物 is also can be both event and thing, and 物体. 物体 is more kind of object, or a 物, can be matter too. 体 is even more interesting because 体 can be 身体, can be body, can be human body, but it's also 体 is also just some 物体. Also 体, if we put it into this more another philosophical term, 体用, then 体 means root, foundational, very important. So this also kind of reminds us about when we talk about matter or material or thing, actually it can be, at least they have agency in Chinese under Chinese way of understanding. So I just put up this 事物安体 for our audience and for us to ponder. Now let's look at Chinese medicine. And this is from, well, actually, the inner canon of Yellow Emperor can be also quite a important philosophy in Chinese worldview as well. So this quote from Su Wen, it's talk about 五行. So heaven encompasses the 5 phases, which govern the 5 天有五行御五位, govern the 5 spatial orientations. That means east, south, north, west, and center. So that's 5 spatial orientation, 五位, or some people translate as 5 positions. But this is not just that. It generates cold, summer heat, dryness, dampness, and wind. So it's generate climate, generate weather. And humans, so this is also about heaven and human resonancy, 天人相应. Humans possess the 5 vessels, which transform the 5 qi. So 5 vessels, that's liver, heart. Of course, we should not equal this with anatomical organs. So heart, liver, lung, spleen, and kidney. And be careful not to conflate it with biomedical anatomical organs. So these 5 vessels transform the 5 qi to produce here the organ and sentiment, feelings, produce joy, anger, pensiveness, sorrow, and fear. So as the discourse states, 论曰, 论言, the 5 movements succeed one another in cyclical governance. So this is about this 终期之日周而复始. It's not linear. It's always mutually generative. And also, if in terms of 五行, it can be mutually conquering each other as well. 相生相克. So when the cycle concludes, it becomes anew without end. So it's always become anew. It's always regenerating. Now, if we look at more specifically into Chinese medicine, yin yang, and I got the diagram from Judith Farquhar's book, Knowing Practice. So the upper part is kind of about the word, right? The cosmogony, like 淮南子, and all Dao De Jing's 1 generate 2, 2 generate 3, and 3 generate 10,000 things. 三生万物. So it's undifferentiated unities, like what I just described, the great oneness, yin yang, yang qi, yin qi, and manifestation specific configurations of qi. And here, the lower part is more about body or Chinese medicine's physiology. So qi, yang qi, yin qi, and then 三阴三阳, 3 yang walks, translate 六经, and signs, symptoms, physiological systems, sentiments, organs, as I just read about the sentiments, organs, and everything. Also, not just physiological and pathological too. And we can trace what's going wrong with that. But we can see the organs, they're just part of it, part of manifestations. And also, if we come back to the Su Wen and the heaven and human beings resonance, it's not just and the 10,000 things, and including herbs, and how you should treat patients, and bodies, not just patients' bodies, and doctors' bodies, interaction with patients, all about interaction, and how it can produce some desirable effect, like Roger Ames mentioned. So here, if we think about qi, and since in that diagram has all talk about qi, qi is also something both abstract and material. So if we look at Zhang Zai's 正蒙, correcting the unenlightened, so I translated more making sense to English-speaking people, and so explain it. And 太虚无形, the great emptiness. Here is we can kind of think it's similar to that great oneness in 淮南子, and since it's also 混沌为谱, right? So the great emptiness is formless. It constitutes the underlying reality of qi, qi as vital force. So it gathers and disperses. And the tangible, ever-changing phenomena, that's 万物, ever-changing phenomena of the world, are temporary gas forms arising from qi's cyclical movements. So this again shows, and I think it echoes with all three concepts Yunchul has mentioned: transmattering, cross-morphing, and materiality. Yes, materiality. And so when we think about Wu, back to Wu again, a very important thing about temporality. So the Chinese tradition has not separated temporality from things. It's kind of also related with us. When I think about event, it has intrinsic temporality in it, rendering it impossible for time to exist independently of things or for things to persist beyond temporality. Neither empty temporal corridor nor eternal entities are conceivable. So this also very important for us to rethink about how we understand Wu, how we understand things, or things, matter, body. So to conclude, the matter reality, I think maybe 万物 is matter reality. We can talk further in our conversation. And I use Judith Farquhar's in her wonderful book, Way of Life. The Chinese metaphysical tradition has used term mirrored things as a term for phenomenal reality itself. That the material world is vast, plural, and hard to pin down. It's teeming. And reflect on Yunchul's practice. He's constantly searching something new and then transform. And I really like this: transform from nature to culture. Very interesting comment, and for us to ponder. So I'll end my presentation with, this is Yunchul's previous studio. I really like this picture with miscellaneous and teeming objects. Seems they're going to go out of this space. But it's not just inside, it's also outside the window. We saw all the buildings, we saw the lights, we saw everything in this one picture. And meanwhile, you cannot stop thinking about all his projects, all his works coming out of those assemblage and then transforming, cross-morphing, and the matter reality of this work. That's I think this picture captures what our talk today. We want to convey the message. Okay. So maybe I ask Yunchul to start so we can talk to each other, have some conversation. Yes. Do you want to start, or you want to comment?
Yeah, always I'm really happy to hear from you. Your thought also this time, you also mentioned about my practice and also about my work with your interpretation and also connecting with Chinese philosophy and so on. It was really great, and I'm always happy to this kind of reaction because I studied a long time in Germany. I studied also a lot of Western philosophy and things, but always I missed my root and also my origination, because in East Asia we have also a lot of knowledge about the nature, and also researching, exploring, and a lot of yes, this ecocentric view of the world to connecting with the things and nature. So so I'm really happy. Also, I like to most of also my quotation also in my slide also teaming word. So I didn't show some text from Alfred Zell. He is also anthropologist, and so I'm really enjoying also working with also as scientist. Or but sometimes I really have a lot of knowledge, get a lot of knowledge from the anthropologist also. So so I'm very happy to come and discuss with you, and maybe we can talk about this uh, things about not only aesthetical analyze of the contemporary art, because if you go to art scene, there are a lot of discussion, but it is more with the contemporary philosophy, Western philosophy of understanding of the art as an object or art as a kind of artifact and so on. Still, art is something static and not changing. But with you also mentioned about it, art is also finished, but it is still becoming because it is linked with audience and living in a space and time. So therefore, it is actually, I think, very important to have to make some theory about this kind of thought.
Yeah,
Mm.
and also I already got we have already some questions actually. Maybe we can start from audience and then to in our discussion, in our conversation, and then we may include more questions, also our own thoughts. So one question coming up is asking, what is the core information you'd like to deliver and interact with the audience
Yeah,
when you
so
create
simple.
your artworks? Yeah.
Yeah, if I answer very simply, normally I don't give some. I don't want to express some messages. So actually, it is like if you visit my exhibition, you can see a lot of materials and apparatus and moving mechanic and so on. But you can you don't need to interpret. I think it is from the kind of misunderstanding that art is not for understanding. Art is experiencing. Therefore, I don't want to give some message to the audience because it is more linguistic communication if I give some message in my piece. So there is message is a matter and materiality. Therefore, you can experience time and space with artwork and connecting with this singing object. Therefore, you can interpret with your own experience and also with your body, because the most of my works is not only visual experience, also you can hear the noise and you can feel the movement of the mechanics. So I'd like to say that there are some personal idea of the my piece, but I'd like to say to the audience that you can interpret the artwork very freely, and you can deep into the artwork to understanding maybe later about some functional things or more philosophical background. But the most important thing is to connecting with artwork.
And actually, you mentioned this sound noise experience. There is a question about because given you are also a composer, And I know also for, I guess this audience, he or she never haven't seen your work about the music. You
Mm,
come along with your installations. So
mm,
how the question is, how does the music reflect the ideas presented in your artwork, such as materiality, cross-morphing, and transmattering?
mm. So my background is music, music composer. I'm still make music and play piano every day in my studio. You can see the piano here. So music is very important for my art practice because music is time-based. Music is event. Therefore, I'm very trained to feeling the time and event. Therefore, so most of my practice, if I'm working and if I'm experiment with the material, and if I some work programming to making a movement of my piece, it is like a music composition. So therefore, my background as a musician is very important because most of my piece and thought is time-based and event-based, and it is not separatable with the time and matter and event
Mhm.
and matter. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So yes, I think I can answer this question for you. The question is about, so that means if only by looking at pictures and or photographs of your work, maybe you couldn't fully appreciate the effort you put in your work. Or
Mm,
to quote the first question, the information, right? That's kind of information you want to send to the audience. You need to experience it, and then with your emphasis
mm,
on sensorial experience. Um, so to be more specific, the question is like, so this kind of synchronicity of time and space, because you need to go in. So in experience, also part of your philosophical thinking of art. Yes.
sorry, once more.
So, so
I
it's
missed.
just about that. Yeah, the question is same.
Uh,
It's the same question I asked. I answered for you before. It's you have to be there. You have to
yeah, yeah.
experience it. So this
I
is part
understand.
of your philosophical thinking of art,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Um. So let's see. Um. So a more quite a few questions about the people are curious about your inspiration from what philosophy, and like when people ask about, do you get influence from me also?
Mm.
Um,
So new materialism
yeah.
and speculative materialism, reality, and so on. Yeah, I'm very influenced also from this new contemporary philosophy. Also, I'm sharing with a young philosopher about this idea, like my conversation is really. Mm. So yeah, I think it is very important to understand what the young philosopher they really thinking about the
Mm,
world, because now is a lot of groundbreaking frameworks of philosophy is becoming, because we are living in a very special, uh, profound transformation. Mm, uh, because there are a lot of new things is coming, not only some changing, because a lot of now we using artificial intelligence and robotics in our daily life too. Therefore, yeah, so I'm really like to read about this changing of the world from the young philosophers and new theory and new philosophy. And it also influenced me a lot of idea and motivations.
mm. Um, Here is some question I can elaborate more. Is I'm also curious. Is because you have so many ideas, and you are so actively kind of doing this transmattering work. So, for example, the chroma, and then and also the from tree, and then you do using nanotechnology, and then you
Yeah.
said mm,
Mm.
so how do you decide, and how triggered you? Maybe you can say more of your working process to share with us.
Yeah. So actually, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a chemist, and I'm not a kind of so engineer. But I really started from nothing, without any knowledge with the science. But I have the motivation to understanding the world of material, and also this kind of motivation really is make me experiment with materials. So therefore, first time when I started to beginning of the my experiment, I just start with the material, just the stirring or just the mixing with some water or some oil, and then slowly I realized that I need to uh, understand the physics and chemistry and mathematics and so on. Then slowly I really start to read the papers and to understand their experiment and their motivations and their researches. Then I get a kind of more experience, and that can make my own research with the materials, and like a material scientist. But now I have a lot of experience with it is not just from last year to this year. It is a really long time my study and research. Therefore, now I can conduct experiment with a different scientific device and so on. But as an artist, still it is very important to use my body and my sense to connect with the materials. And therefore also it is like a cooking, actually.
Mm.
So if you really concentrated to in cooking, then you will be very fascinating how material is changing during the cooking. So most of my practice is I use scientific methodology, but I use very intuitive way to uh, to have a journey to with this material. Mm.
Mm. So, for example, the trees, do you got
Uh,
inspiration? You go out and then walk on the path and then look at the trees?
so yeah, actually, so I start the first my experiment is from seaweed. Seaweed, you can make really easy to make a gelatin from the
Mm.
nature.
Mhm.
And not every gelatin, but some special gelatin has properties that reflect light totally different way. Therefore, you can really see that millions of colors is changing through your pores.
Mm.
So this phenomenon, if you know it, then you can deep into the science, that the understanding optics and materiality of the material. Then you can make experiment in your kitchen, because seaweed is not dangerous material. You can buy
Mm.
in the market. Then you can start with this experiment. Yeah.
Mm.
And also tree is also same. Also, not I cannot experiment in not every trees, but I need knowledge from science. This tree has this cellulose as a special characters. Mm. It is like a Chinese medicine or Korean medicine that the doctor experiment doesn't
Mhm.
experiment is
Like
all of the
tasting the
thousand of
herbs.
things.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
But they
Right.
have this knowledge from the how can I say, imagine not only the scientific knowledge, it is kind of also imaginary. This herb is near to this mountain, and this mountain is near to this earth. So it makes some,
Right.
kind of,
And the climate is cold, and this herb has some specific quality in terms of this weather.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a question was about qi, how qi theory. Oh, right. Usually intervene with frameworks usually focus more on science. So actually, to answer this question is put it simple. It's like today I try to show it's not just specifically to treat qi as a thing, right, as an object, and then move it to science framework. No, this already not what this dialogue what we have been talking about. So this qi theory is more to show the idea of the material, how to call it, the materiality, to use Yunchul's term, of the world, and to show actually the matter is changeable, and the matter has agency, and matter is doing, and the idea of mattering instead of a noun is a verb. So it's not like literal. We have to think about how can we think about, is there some qi in Yunchul's project of chroma, in Yunchul's work? No, that's not what we were talking about. So it's more to show the interactivity, to show the material agency, and to show there's some other question about the blurred boundary between human and non-human, and then to think about object, to think about object in science, to think about research, and like Yunchul's talk about sensorial knowledge, all the hands experience, even smell, and time, all into this matter. That's already showed how we can rethink about this idea of scientists doing research on a scientific object. So that's the dualism should be broken down. I hope I answered your question. And there is some similar questions, so say necessary to distinguish primacy between natural and artificial objects, and between organic and organics. So maybe you go first.
The reality, the organic and inorganic is totally sure. It is different properties or perspective and also reality. But I didn't mention about in my slide about there is also one more notion that I find very important is a metaphor. Metaphor is not metaphor, is a metaphor. So through your experience with matter and things, you can connect and combine with your other things and other energy and other flows and so on. Therefore, so my work is a kind of artifact and artificial artifact, but it is all material is coming from the nature in the time and space. Therefore, you can separate it as a inorganic, but if you connect with art world, it is slowly, it is changing that it is moving and living and touching your feelings. So therefore, art is very important that you can experience that the things is living. So also collaborating with your observation, and the French philosopher Simondon said it is very important, this individuation of the entities, it is connecting with the other individuation, then it is mutual understanding and so on. Therefore, I don't want to. I totally understand what is organic and inorganic, but in the exhibition, or if you encountering with some artwork, if you have a feeling that you are connected, then you don't need to this separation. What is nature and what is artifact?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, and I think the question is like, of course, and if you think about organic, inorganic, like we human beings, and there is something different than the table, than the computer. That's for sure. But as Yunchul said, if you extended the thinking to think about this transmattering, think about this inevitable entanglement with objects and with things. And also, if you think back about one who I just talked about, the all issued from this oneness, from Tai, from great oneness, and but then they became distinct things. They are differentiated from each other. The question is that they can also change, transform. So I think Yunchul already answered this question very well. So another question says your work often exhibits a delicate, precise, and even perfectionist representation of matters. Do you think so? In this context, I'm curious about your attitude toward defects and imperfections, particularly regarding defects as a stagnant, impaired, imperfect state that are potentially inherent in materials. Or to say, what's your attitude towards and how do you deal with potential technical issues and problems that may emerge in your apparatus?
Yeah,
This is a good
so
one.
actually, maybe you can, if you visit my exhibition, my show, then you can see the kind of complex setups of the machines and the materials, and looks very perfect and technology in order. But normally I'm struggling to, how can I say, maintain these huge things to keep going on. And therefore, one of most my practice in my studio to control this all material and materiality and technique to sustain, nature. Therefore, so actually, there is no things that it is perfect and it is working every time same quality and so on. So, therefore also I find it is very important factor of the art that is always changing, not only meaning, also artwork is changing, not only my work, also painting is changing with the humidity and aging with the time. Therefore, so I try to present in a best condition with my pieces, but it is not always the best condition because sometimes the weather is too hot and sometimes too cold. Then the materiality is reacting with response and reacting with the weather and so on. Therefore, sometimes it has not so my imagination, but I accept these situations and so on. Yeah.
Right. And actually, I also witnessed that when one of your installation breaking down, you have to work with it, and you have to leave some part unworkable, just like it is. It was.
Yeah.
But it's a good question because or exactly showed this. Nothing is perfect, and then when you see this although the artist aims for perfection, right? You don't deny that. You want
Yeah.
to make it work smoothly as good as you can, but you also expect it's breaking down, and you also expect repairment needed, and that's real life, and it's not like a like a wu wei. That's not the concept wu wei means. It's not like we just leave things as it be, and things have this agency. It will breaking down, and we have to work with it. We have to entangle with it, and to either let it work or also understand sometimes we are not so powerful, so capable, and it's active in engagement, and also active expectation of things is not fully under control. It can never be fully under control. I have a very good reminding of what the question about organic and inorganic actually also reminds the different understanding of nature, 自然, in Chinese or Eastern concept, and then in the term nature in Western concept, because 自然 is never separate from human being, and so even you call this organic or something part of the 自然, actually it's self-soul, it's naturalization, it's gradually like this. I often use this example of a big dam project in China, and then built in long time ago in Tang. It's still working, and it's become part of nature. So you have to think in terms of process. Okay, now we have a shared question. How can we build a shared belief in the importance of mutual affecting or mutual transforming relations between ourselves and material world around us in this modern capitalist society?
Yeah, so I think it is interesting mentioned so opinion, because if you showed my studio, so beyond of my windows there are material world, everything it has a value and applied with the matter. So therefore, sometimes we missed it is a matter, it is a material, because we are blinded with value. But if you practice in your material with your imagination, slowly you don't have these glasses with to understanding water as money, or water has something applied, then you are purely connecting with nature, whether it is chemistry, whether it is artificial. So one of my biggest interest in experiment and my performance, it is connecting with nature, not with value and cultural glasses, with cultural glasses. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And to put it more briefly, you should go into the world first instead of standing here judging it. It's modern capitalist society, right? You don't have to. You just go into it, and leaving those concepts behind first. So another question is the similarity and difference between interactions between human and matters and those between different persons. Like a human and non-human, or between human interactions. Yeah. To me, the difference, the shared 共同点, the similarity, I think this whole talk has been kind of talking about that, because we're trying to decentralize human, and or at least put human among things. And when it comes to human and human, to me, I think it's you have to it has more concerns of a consideration, maybe we can put about the ethics and politics. And although we don't deny the politics, or ethics politics also is among material, like Karen Barad has talking about the if agency is also has material had agency, it's also as ethics. I think the relations or interactions between human and it's now kind of yeah, I don't think there's much difference, but human maybe is more actively, and you always has go back to this, you always has to respond to people around you, and you always have more active interaction with them than human and non-human. I don't know. Maybe for artists, you have different opinion about it. Do you see the question?
Yeah,
You're thinking.
Yeah, so I read some questions. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, there are many questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we have to skip that one. It's if I can only speak for myself. If we firmly go with this mattering and one wu idea, I don't think there's much difference. I can only speak for myself. I think it's similar. The interaction between also, if you think about interaction, we are all co-arising, all co-becoming. So this you need to change it, turn around to rethink about the idea of wu or non-human. So okay, let's go to the question for you. What are the biggest challenges you face when working with scientists, technicians? So have you ever changed your original design or ideas because of the limit of technology?
Yeah, sure. So every time I have an idea, but it is sometimes impossible to realize with our technology. Therefore, always it is kind of a reformation of my first idea. So actually, I'm working not with scientists or technicians, but in my studio, I'm working with some teams, and I'm sharing my ideas, and we realize all together. But therefore, I collaborate some ideas with sometimes sharing ideas with the scientists or other theorists and so on. But to realization, I have my kind of how can I say habit that if I make a chemistry experimentation, because my sister is a chemist, but I never asked to her about this knowledge of chemistry, because I'm as an artist, I don't want to lose my imagination, very artistic imagination and so on. But if I start with a scientist together about my imagination, then sometimes it is takes long to time find tuning our discussion. But to realize my artwork, I have a lot of problems and also solve the problems and so on. Therefore, yeah, it is sometimes very painful, but sometimes I really enjoy this limit of my ability or our technology. But after I finish my artwork, then I really open to scientists or technician to discuss with my artwork. But yeah, so limitation is always there. And art, if you talk about the problem, it's the etymological meaning of a problem is pro is kind of front, blame is the throw away. So problem is the kind of inspiration, and problem is the meaning of the that you throw your ideas front of you, then you should go this way. Therefore, I like this word to have a problem when you work with the materials and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I can follow up do you also you had, because obviously only imagination is not enough. So it's kind of ongoing process. You read and you think and you do it. And if not, then you try something else. But do you also always have a core idea you won't give up, and then you just kind of change it a little bit, but this image is always there.
Yeah, so core essence of idea is staying or maintain, but yeah, I am kind of some traveling is big detour or something to find new possibilities and so on. So sometimes I cannot realize in this time, but I have feeling maybe 2 years later, maybe I have more experience than I'm waiting, but I'm realized with my limitation in this moment. Then therefore, most of my work has series. So chroma, I made 9 different versions of chroma because I couldn't make this chroma so big at first version. Therefore, with my experience, second version, I can make more precisely constructed, and also you can, it is not only about the artwork, because later you should hang this heavy object in the ceiling. Yeah, therefore, there are a lot of new problems that you should solve. Therefore, I don't want to realize everything at first. So I'm just waiting and develop and experience my knowledge and so on. Then more and more I can realize much near to my original idea. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So maybe the last question about what material you most recently focus on.
So I showed already the piece called strata, and it is cellulose from the tree. Then last time in Beijing, I showed this piece as a kind of a sculpture. But still, I'm working, and I would like to make some kinetic fluid artwork with this cellulose. Therefore, still I'm experimenting in studio many times for this for the realization. But this material I've made almost more than 4 years, because you need a really patient to understanding material and researching material and so on. Therefore, for me, it is very normal to just waiting to have a chance to that I can really open the door. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe my taking privilege of being the moderator, my question would be why you call it strata? Because I know you always have you pay attention to the name or title
Yeah.
of your work. Yeah.
Strata, do you know strata is the kind of stones have this structure, and the strata, you can see the kind of intersection view of the earth. Then you can read the time actually through the materials. Actually, archaeologists, they use a lot of this time from the material. Therefore, the strata is, I explained you that I spent more than 4 or 5 years, my experience, also experiment with this material. And also if you put this material into glass spiral, then you can see that actually time of the stratifies the time of the materials. Therefore, this material cellulose from the tree, and tree is from the earth, and earth is a kind of time materials, and therefore I gave the title with the strata.
Wonderful. So shall we conclude?
Yeah.
We can keep going, but maybe we can wait for
So,
next time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that I couldn't go to Beijing because of bad weather yesterday, a lot of wind and so on. So I'd like to meet you and meet audience and also meet this Berggruen Institute. But this time we are connected with very digitally. But I hope that we can have other opportunity that more conversation with in person in same space. Yeah.
So there's one question, but already being answered is because people see the piano behind you, and someone was asking if you can play piano.
I'm always practice piano every day, but this time is maybe I'm not so prepared. But I play Bach, so I play classic music these times to more meditate for my emotions and so on. So every morning I came to studio. Then I play maybe 10 minutes or 30 minutes. So not only practice, and it is practice to play piano, but it is practice for my mind and my body to more calm down, not hurry. So therefore, it is very important of my practice to playing piano. Maybe next time if I'm to in Beijing, then I can really play
Yes,
for you.
let's ask Berggruen to prepare a piano for you. Okay,
But thanks.
great. Okay. Thank you, and thank you everyone. Thank you again for Berggruen Institute Beijing Center. You are the best, and really appreciate your organizing this event. So what shall we end? Please tell us.
We'll just say bye-bye and see you next time.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye bye.
Bye.